What's going on, Lock Talk family? It's your boy Jason, and let's go crush another NFL slate. Today's Thursday, October 24th, and we got a really good one in my opinion. The Minnesota Vikings are at the Los Angeles Rams. And let's talk about this game, man. And hey, before I get started and I break down this game, hit that subscribe button, leave a like for the YouTube algorithm, and comment who do you guys got in this game, man. We've been absolutely killing it over in Finland. We had a great day in the NBA. Hit our player of the day with the Rockets first half -3.5. We got that line super early. Sent it out to all my guys in my premium chat. So you guys do want to tap in with today's discount, go to that link down below. Gave everyone on my YouTube a really special deal. But we got NBA and NFL. I have never been so excited in a long time for sports betting, because we have literally every sport that I love all going at one time. We got the UFC, a big card on Saturday. We have this NFL game. NBA is back in full swing, man. I mean, what else do you want? It's like Christmas right now. But let's get straight into it, man. Let's do a recap on the games from yesterday. I gave you guys a free play from my boys at Daily Grind Fantasy. And we're going to go through one of those plays really quickly after this. But I gave you guys an absolute blowout winner over there with this two-man right here. So if you guys have not been on Daily Grind Fantasy, go check them out. I'm going to go at the middle of the video to talk about one of the games or one of the plays that I do like for that. But all right, guys, let's talk about this game, man. I mean, it's a tough one, bro. I'll say this. I mean, the Minnesota Vikings are going against a very, very dangerous Rams team, man. Both teams, they have two different stories of their season so far. Minnesota Vikings are 5-1, while the Rams are 2-4. Vikings took their first L of their season, but the only undefeated team now is the lone whole Kansas City Chiefs. But spread's at 3. It was at 2.5, but it seems like a lot of people are piling on the Vikings. And the over-under is around 48.5, as you can see over here. Simply put, I'll say this. Over the head-to-head matchup, and this doesn't really mean anything. Like, this is just a historical stat. The Rams, the Vikings have been historically dominant over the Rams, covering the spread in 6 out of their last 7 games and having an 8-1 record over the last 9 meetings in LA. So history doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to win today or cover, but I mean, that's a pretty crazy matchup. The Vikings have literally owned the Rams. Vikings are also 6-0 to the over on their team a total over the season, currently at 24.5. So I mean, that's a few things to note, man. I mean, Vikings have been killing teams. Their defense is really good. I mean, I know that because they're on my fantasy. So shout out to the Vikings. But the Rams, on the other hand, are 5-1 to the under on their team total at 23.5, which is, I think, their line today, showing, I guess, so far, less explosive offense, but we can talk about some of those things later on. Overall, I think, Sam Darnold, I mean, he's done pretty good, but this Rams defense, they do run a lot of zone coverage, which Sam Darnold is not as good versus man, but, I mean, in terms of pass, I mean, they're around 18 in terms of yards, but in terms of the type of coverage they run a cover 6, which I think Sam Darnold's not as bad against, but we'll see, man. I mean, I do think that even though his pass rating does drop a little bit, drops from 120 to 83 against zone, he could probably still figure it out. He has a lot of weapons on his team to really get the job done. But again, we'll see. I do think that the Rams, schematic for their zones, can give some initial trouble to Sam Darnold. We'll find out. On the other side, Matthew Stafford, the quarterback for the Rams, he's pretty vulnerable against pressure. And the one thing you want to know about this Vikings team is that they run a lot of high blitzes at one of the highest rates at the NFL, around 42% blitz rate. So they have the highest QB pressure at 31%. And this will probably create a lot of tough situations for Matt Stafford. So, it's kind of a tale of who's able to impose their will. Can the Rams schematic defense cause the Vikings problems? I mean, we just saw the Rams have some trouble, in my opinion, against a Raiders team who's really not that good. They were able to put 15 points on the board. We saw the Green Bay Packers run through them. Even the Chicago Bears were able to get through them as well. So, even though the matchup isn't great for Sam Darnold, I mean, there's other teams that have gone through them, but obviously it's all about matchups at the end of the day. Vikings, look, they've had their last 3 games. They beat Green Bay. They beat the Jets. Jets are terrible, but They did lose to the Detroit Lions, a game that they probably should have won, but they just kind of choked at the end. So I can't really take this loss as like a big step back for them. This could be a bounce back game for them, but we'll see. We'll see. Another thing I want to say is the run game. I mean, the Vikings rushing attack has shown a decline in their efficiency with their last 3 games just averaging 4.3 yards per attempt. Even though their offensive line grades as one of the best in the NFL, a top 10, the recent slowdown may suggest that maybe they're having some trouble. Aaron Jones hasn't been playing as well, but obviously I think the Rams rush defense is pretty good. Rams, however, they kind of struggle defensively overall, allowing 73 rush yards per every allowing 73 rush yards for every number 1 running back. Well, that's a tongue twister. But I do think they could probably have a decent matchup with Aaron Jones, especially if like they're able to stop the pass. They'll obviously be able to draw out the run more. So we'll see. But flipping over to the offense for the Rams, though, I want to talk a little bit about that. The Rams have relied pretty heavily on Kyren Williams. Kyren Williams has been one of the best backs, especially if you've had him in your fantasy. But he has a very tough matchup today. The Vikings have an elite defense with the 5th in yards per carry allowed. Stafford may be forced to throw more, and that might not be a huge problem because I believe he's getting Cooper Kupp back, which will be huge for this Rams offense to have that optionality. That could also open up the run for him. So Kyren Williams, even though he has a tough matchup with Cooper Kupp being back, maybe they have some more opportunities for the offense to have more options and cause more threats to give this Minnesota defense, who's been elite so far, some problems. But overall, man, I think it's a tough matchup, man. I mean, this 3 number obviously is enticing if you want to get on the Minnesota Vikings. You want to go look at let's look at the line movement. It's been all over the place, but obviously everyone and their mother is on the Vikings. Vikings have been a world beater team so far. I mean, they've totally romped a lot of good teams. It doesn't matter who they've been playing. I mean, they reasonably should have been the Lions, but hey, the Lions, they're showing to be another threat as well. But let's take a look at some injuries as well. I want to mention some of them are not on this list, but let's take a look. So the Vikings are still going to be without TJ Hockenson. I mean, I think if he was back, that would be huge for this team. I mean, TJ Hockenson is a beast, and the Rams aren't that good against tight ends overall. Other things, Cashman, the linebacker for the Vikings, he's out. But I think Hockenson's absence is going to continue to draw on them, but they've still been able to get the job done with Aaron Jones. And obviously, their number 1 receiver, where is he at? I want to see if I can pull him up real quick, but let's see. Oh no, his name's not even on this. But all right, on the Rams side, obviously Puka Nacua, he's questionable, but I don't know if he's gonna be able to play today. We'll see. Let me see. Let's see. Puka Nacua, he's on injury reserve, but I mean, he was questionable, I think, at one point, which is kind of weird. But Cooper Kupp looks like he's coming back to play. Overall, I do think a few things I want to just highlight is Matt Stafford. He typically has not done great under pressure. Minnesota's definitely going to bring some pressure. And Sam Darnold, he's not great against zone, but against a certain coverage that the Rams do, it's not his worst matchup, but we'll have to wait and see. Overall, if I had to really make a bet, I mean, I obviously think, look, Minnesota has Justin Jefferson, probably, if not number 1, top 3 wide receiver in the game right now. They have Aaron Jones. I mean, Sam Darnold's been on absolute fire. Their defense has been on fire. The Rams, I mean, they're getting Cooper Kupp back. Their defensive schematics can definitely cause the Minnesota Vikings some problems. I mean, Kyren Williams could have a bounce back game. I mean, Cooper Kupp coming back can get them more competitive. Oh, man, I mean, it's really tough, dude. It's really, really tough to bet aside. I think, obviously, I always want to try to be sharp and just fade the public. Public's been eating, though, I'll say that much. So just because you're trying to fade the public doesn't mean you're going to win. Obviously, everyone's on the Vikings at -2.5, -3. I like props a lot more in this game, but if I had to make a bet for the side, if you could get obviously a 2.5 for the Vikings, which I don't think exists really anywhere else. It's the alternative lines. Can you get 2.5 anywhere? Let's see. Let's go take a look. Where is it? Minnesota -2.5. Let's see. Does that exist? There are 2.5s on FanDuel, Bet365, DraftKings. I think Minnesota -2.5 is not a bad bet at all. I do think they are the better team. I think their defense has been elite. Obviously, with Cooper Kupp coming back, Kyren Williams maybe wanting to kind of bounce back from a poor performance against a Raiders team who's not that great against the run, which is what concerns me with Kyron Williams. I don't understand why he was not able to run against such a weak run defense, but it's tough. I don't want to side with the public, but I kind of have to. I think the Vikings are the better team. I think they end up winning this game. I think they cover the number. Obviously, if you want to take the juice and bet money line, if you want to, it's minus 144. I don't know if I love that either, but I think this game is actually a lot closer than what people wanted to make it seem. This Rams team, their 2-4 record, don't let it confuse you. This team is still a threat. They definitely can move the ball down the field. They have a decent defense, and I think this defense can give the Vikings some problems, but I think Sam Darnold can figure it out. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams made you sweat for a little bit. In terms of the total, over under 40.5. So even though I've been mentioning so much about all these defensively strong matchups for both teams, I do think that this will be a high scoring game. I think both teams will be throwing the ball. They'll be moving the ball down the field, whether they get field goals or they get chances at the red zone. I think there'll be a lot of red zone chances. Vikings defense is very good, but hey, look, I mean, it's not like they've been invincible. Just take a look at some of their games. Obviously, they played some elite teams, but gave up 31 points to the Detroit Lions, gave up 17 points to the Jets, and Jets are terrible. Green Bay gave up 29 points. They shut down Houston, but I mean, it's not like they don't give any points up at all, right? I do think the Rams offense has some threats, man. Kyler Williams is a really good running back. With Cooper Kupp coming back, Matt Stafford can, maybe get some things done. But obviously, I do think the one thing that scares me about betting an over is if the Vikings pressure is too much for Stafford and he's unable to really establish himself and get chances. That's the only thing I'll say about this game that concerns me about this over, is if LA can't really carry. I do think Minnesota definitely will get some points on the board, but can Matt Stafford handle the pressure? And he hasn't really been shown to really do that well in a blitz type defense. So, but we'll figure it out. Guys, thanks so much. So just to summarize the game pick, but before I do that, let me see if I can bring you guys to my guys at Daily Grind Fantasy. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Daily Grind Fantasy, shout out to these guys right here, man. They've been absolutely, we cashed last time with them, man. So some things I like to do is to go over to the different sports apps, and they're able to go through every single line and tell you which ones are the best ones and have the highest expected value. We crushed Dabble. Let's go look at Parlay Play as an example. I want to go pull up some of the plays for NFL. They obviously give more than just NFL. They also give NBA. So if I wanted to go clear it and only focus on certain sports, you can't do that. So I'm going to go to NFL really quickly and go look at some player props, because sometimes it just helps me filter things out. So if we look at over here, let's see. They have some good lines right here. Justin Jefferson over receiving yards, and then we would have to go for another team. Pass completions for Matt Stafford. I don't know if I love that one that much. Jordan Addison receiving yards. Let's see. Aaron Jones under his longest rush. So he goes through every single one. But like I said, Cooper Kupp will be back. So I do think maybe these are a few that you could look at. Matt Stafford, interceptions, and then Justin Jefferson over receiving yards. I do think or Jordan Addison receiving, I think these are all three good looks. This is a great way to kind of filter through it. And if you guys want to use this tool, get 25% off using my code LOCK and go place on Parlay Play. I'll put both links in the description and in the pinned comment down below. But again, guys, let's keep it running it up. Let's go cash. We got a big day today. NBA, NFL. Let's go cash some tickets, baby. I'll see y'all in the next one.